Can I make a good game room ideas video for table games? Sometimes you've just got to roll the dice. You may not know, but as well as video games, I'm also a fan of tabletop gaming. My life has been immeasurably enriched with family game time and warm chats over the gaming table. In our life, a pair of preteen nieces spend a good amount of time with us, and I hope to foster their love of gaming and deepen their appreciation of family time as well. There is a time and place for personal screen time, but I'm also trying to incorporate family game time as a regular part of our schedule. While a board game will typically include everything you need to play right there in the box, sometimes you have other things you need to bring to the table too. A way to keep score, or personalized player tokens, or extra collected pieces in case of missing parts. To make starting a game as frictionless as possible, any of these extra components ought to be readily available and in one place. This 2.5 liter really useful box should be just perfect. It has a divided tray insert and is great to hold craft or office supplies, but these roomy compartments are sized well for all manner of gaming accessories, so I decided to make this our Gaming Gear Grab and Go. I'm still working on the name. We'll start with a standard deck of playing cards, which fits perfectly. I'm tossing in a few stacks of sticky notes next, and some spare dice are a good thing to have handy. What you put in your game box will vary depending on what kinds of games you like to play. There's room for dice pouches for RPG dice, extra player or creature tokens, or meeples, spin-down dice, currency tokens or chips, maybe damage and status counters, and a coin for flipping. Any kinds of loose bits you may need for your table, and I expect my loadout will adapt and change over time. One thing that shouldn't change much is here in the largest compartment. Never again will I fumble through the house searching for a writing utensil that actually works. I've included a bunch of mechanical pencils for note-taking and scorekeeping, and also a few dry erase markers. I have several games that come with these, but we always find they've dried out. Next, I've labeled some small memo books for the 4 main players in our house. Instead of one scorekeeper, we've each been keeping and comparing our individual scores. This is a slight streamline to the standard scoring process, and it gives the kids some much-needed real-world application and practice of their math skills. For us, this Tabletop Tactical Tote Take-Tac-Tote, is meant just as a complement to our home gaming life, not as a fully fledged standalone travel kit. But still, with just the cards, dice, and paper, this caddy provides hundreds of games. The trays are deep enough to fit multiple decks of cards or games that use a larger deck. The compartments are imperfect as drawn discard trays, but they can serve that purpose in a pinch, like in the vehicle for instance. As we planned for a trip, we could pick some easy-to-travel games to swap in. Certain dice games are a great example, and we can even stash a few memo pages or score sheets for specific games under the tray. As a general purpose, all-in-one box of fun, this is shaping up very well. But while it's capable of housing things like sleeved card decks, in my opinion, it doesn't do this as well as a dedicated deck box or deck case. So if your gaming life is focused on games with specific organizational needs, rather than the general interest I'm trying to serve, there are likely better products to look for in regard to storage and travel, specifically tailored to your hobby. By the way, I'm not here to endorse this specific box. I'm sharing the blueprint for how I'm using a case I already own. But that doesn't mean you have to follow it exactly. If you want to make a similar game play then stow away caddy for your household, there are lots of different craft or tackle style totes that would work just as well. Like my case, I just recommend looking for something large enough to suit your needs, but small enough to travel easily or sneak into an easily accessible corner of your game shelves. But my final modifications are a real argument in this case's favor. I took some peel and stick felt and entirely lined the inside of the box underneath the removable tray. Now our same gaming box includes a built-in dice tray as well. The felt helps dampen the noise of the dice, and the tray helps protect and actually keep the dice on the table, a necessity when playing with kids. And speaking of dice, I made a simple modification to a cheap plastic deck box to turn it into a functional dice cup. And amazingly, it's perfectly form-fitted to the smaller slots. The notch at the top gives just enough of a finger grip for easy retrieval. Now when it's playtime, before we even decide on a game, the first thing I grab is our gathered gaming gear, our score hoard, our card case and dice den. I don't know, what would you call it? Our niece valise. No, that's too niche. Our bauble box, recreation station, our play case, our, contest caddy, or